If you was to carry on going up the river, you can come to places such as Lambeth, Vauxhall, Windsor, Kingston, all those areas. That is further up the river, but we are heading to the left down the Thames. As we do turn the boat as well, you see the building coming into view on your right hand side. It's got a slight curvature in it. This is called County Hall. This used to be the Greater London Council Office. They used to look after all 32 boroughs we have in London. It's no longer the council office today. They've transformed it now into 3 attractions. You've got Shrek's Adventure, London Dungeons and Sea Life, the aquarium that's all located in County Hall. Where we just left, ladies and gentlemen, that is the largest observation wheel in Europe. That is called the London Eye. London Eye was put here for the year 2000, our millennium year. This was only meant to be here for 2 years. They were going to take it down and send it around the country. There is one reason why the London Eye is still here today. Can anyone guess on the boat which reason it could be? Correct. Money. That makes so much money. In the summer this year, every single day, that will earn just shy of £500,000 every single day. Wow. You can see the capsules on the eye. They represent the 32 boroughs we have in London, and you can see all 32 boroughs from the top of that London Eye. If you go to your left hand side, you see the vessel there, Tattershaw Castle. This used to be a day cruiser on the River Humber, which is in Yorkshire. She come to London initially as an art gallery. She was an art gallery for 5 years. She made no money whatsoever. They turned it into a pub, and within the first week it made more money than it did as an art gallery. It tells you what artists we've got in London. It's Tattershaw Castle on the left. We see the station up to the left, that is Charing Cross Station, and in front of the boat we have the walkways either side, golden Jubilee walkways. We're going to get you to wave and smile at these people. It keeps their hands busy. It stops them throwing things at the boats, which they sometimes like to do. So keep their hands busy as we pass through. Also said to be very lucky, ladies and gentlemen, if you get a wave back from the next one, you get 7 years of good luck. So waves to the people on the top. Did you get a wave back? Yeah. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, ladies and gentlemen. If you wave to someone from a boat, they tend to wave back. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing it in your car. They think you're nuts. But on a boat, it always works. They're still waving now behind us. If you've got your cameras to hand, look here to the left-hand side. This is London's oldest monument. The stone column there with the 2 guards at the bottom, Cleopatra's Needle. That needle is over 3,500 years old, and that makes it older than London itself. This was given to London by a faithful Egyptian government for Nelson's victory over Napoleon and the French in the Battle of the Nile. There is a twin to that needle. It stands in Central Park, New York City. So if you've got your cameras to hand, make sure you get a photo on the left there. If you go to your right hand side, you can see it's quite a busy side of London here to the right. This is the south bank of the Thames. These people that you see, they are walking on a Thames path. That Thames path, it starts at the London Eye, it goes all the way down to Tower Bridge. If you're looking for something to do this afternoon, or maybe this evening, we recommend you go on the south bank. Pathway will take you about 45 minutes to complete, but en route there are traditional pubs, markets, and you get a lot of street performers. They're all located on the right of the Thames. Now, as we go through this bridge here, this is Waterloo Road Bridge. As we pass through, if you have a look to your left hand side, it's coming into view now, just behind that boat there, you see the vessel with the black canopy on the top. It's got the black awning on the top. This is the former royal barge. When the royal family wanted to come onto the River Thames, they would have went aboard that boat there on the left. It's called the St. Catherine. It's no longer the royal barge today. This is a restaurant. It's owned by the Yacht London. New royal barge, that's called the Gloriana, and that is moored in St. Catherine's Dock, just past Tower Bridge. If you haven't seen the Gloriana before, 90% of that vessel is made from gold. It costs about £4 million, and because it's the Queen's Platinum Jubilee this year, the vessel will be on this river 9 times this year. It has 9 meetings to attend. So if you want to see the royal barge, go to the website Platinum Jubilee. It tells you when it will be on the Thames. If you go over to your right hand side, just coming into view now, there is something that you probably thought you'd never see in London today. There is a gorgeous, golden, tropical, sandy beach. Who would have thought London has the finest beaches in the world? On a summer's day, that beach on the right, it is absolutely packed. The adults, they build sandcastles, they sunbathe, and the children, just as they are now, they run down to the polluted water and they pick up objects such as tyres and broken bottles. They call this in London a traditional family day out, free of charge to go on the beach. If we're going to stay to the right here, if you see that red building there with the letters OXO at the top, this is Stamford Wharf. It used to be a refrigeration warehouse, and it was also a power station for the post office. It was taken over by the very famous gravy company, OXO. They make the stock cube you're probably all familiar with. They used to manufacture it in there and store it in the building. No longer today though, they do it in Lancashire now, further up the country. This building has been transformed into a shopping centre at the bottom. In the middle you have luxury, unaffordable apartments. And at the top there with the glass front, that is the Harvey Nichols restaurant. This restaurant has been voted in the top 5 in London. Great views from the restaurant. If you go over to your left hand side, you can see the building just coming into view now, has the green slanted roof. That is the old city London School for Boys. Quite a few of our statesmen, prime ministers, they've all been educated at the school. As we get closer to the school, what you're going to notice are 4 engravements. Those are the greatest scholars this country has ever produced. From left to right, you can see them now. That is William Shakespeare, Isaac Newton, Francis Bacon, John Milton, all educated at that school. Next door to the school, the Curvature building, that is Unilever House. That is the brothers' business, the soap and detergent kings. They say every household in the UK has at least one of their products within it. Unilever House on the left there. We're just going to go through the lowest bridges that we go through today on this part of the river. These are known as the Blackfriars bridges. The lowest ones we go through, also the closest on the Thames. Now as we go through the bridge, if you look down onto the river itself, you can see how fast the tide it's moving. The tide at the moment, you see it around the Butlins there, that's an ebb tide. So that is leaving London and returning to the North Sea about 40 miles away. This is the ebb tide, it takes 7 hours. Once it's finished doing this, it will turn and it will flood into London for 5 hours. Rise and fall here on the Thames of anywhere between 6 and 8 metres. As we go through the bridge here, if you look here to your right hand side, you see the building with the tall chimney on it, the concrete building there. That is the old Bankside power station. Today this is home to the Tate Modern. This building is completely free to go inside. Now I can assure you, enter that building, you have a good look around, you're probably going to start to realise why it is free to go inside. Unless anyone likes modern art. Does anyone like modern art on the boat?
Got a boat of bricks.
No. 140 people on the boat, not one person of modern art. That is why it's free to go inside. As you all don't like modern art, just cross over this bridge here, Millennium Footbridge, and go to St Paul's Cathedral. That's a piece of art, Sir Christopher Wren's masterpiece. It took him 35 years to construct, only cost him £75,000. The cathedral is his masterpiece, as mentioned. Go to St Paul's. If you get a bit of time in London, you'll be very impressed with the building. An extension to the Thames path is here to the right. So you can hear the man playing the guitar there. As I said, the street performers, they're here to the right. But also here to the right, you do have William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. The white timber building with the thatch roof on the top. This is where they reenact all of his plays. And they do it in the traditional way. So there is no stage lighting, there are no sound effects, all it is their voices and the theatre itself. The plays, they're going to start very soon, April the 23rd, they run all the way through to the end of October. They usually have a flag at the top. The flag symbolises what particular play it will be. But as you can see, most of London at the moment, they have the Ukrainian flag for the support for the country. As we go past the Globe Theatre, you can see the bridge in front of us here. This is Southwark Road Bridge. Now this bridge that you see, that marks about halfway on our journey. Now is everyone enjoying the live commentary so far? Yeah, we all happy? Perfect. As I say, we like to do the commentary, a tradition on the Thames, a tradition which we're trying to keep. So I do hope you're enjoying the commentary. Now as we go through Southwark, if you have a look over to your left hand side, what you're going to notice very shortly, there is a barge full with containers. The barge that you see, that is called Walbrook Wharf, and this is where they deal with all the household rubbish here in London. All the black bags that you leave out for the binman, they come to this centre on the left. They get loaded into those containers. Once all those containers are full up, a tug will come along, collect that barge and take all of London's rubbish further down the river to a place called Essex. And that's what we like to do with our rubbish in London. We send it to Essex. They kindly recycle it, and they send it back to London in a TV programme, and it's called Towing. They send their rubbish back to London. We're just going to go through Cannon Street here. This is Cannon Street Railway Bridge. If you look here to the right hand side, just behind those buildings there, that is where the Borough Market is. Borough Market in London is probably the most famous market. Food and flowers from all around the world is sold in that market. You can see in the dock there, there's a pirate ship. That is Sir Francis Drake's Golden Hind, the first Englishman to circumnavigate the globe on a vessel just like that. He was also the first man to beat the Spanish Armada. On his route around the world, he brought back so much gold that it wiped out this country's debt. That is why that ship is called the Golden Hind. We have London Bridge ahead of us here, the most historic one we go through today. This is the fifth one to span this part of the Thames over 2,000 years. The bridge before this, the fourth one, it was sinking into the mud. So they took it down bit by bit, stone by stone. They sold it to an American man. His name was Robert McCulloch. What he done with the bridge is he shipped it over to the States. He had it rebuilt, Lake Havasu in Arizona. Robert McCulloch didn't come to London to see the bridge. He thought he was buying the other London Bridge. You could only imagine his face when that bridge turned up on the ship. He must have been distraught. He only paid £2 million for it. There was no way he was going to get Tower Bridge for that price. The Shard of Glass is up to the right there. That's the tallest building in Western Europe. It's over 1,000 feet tall. Designed by Renzo Piano. When the Shard opened in the year 2012, to go to the viewing platform on the 72nd floor, tickets just £5. If you go there today, tickets £45. It's far too expensive. That's why we like to give you a bit of inside knowledge and tell you about that building up to the left there. Looks like a walkie-talkie with a glass top, 20 Fenchurch Street, home to the world's largest Sky Garden. The great thing about the Sky Garden, it is free to go up there. All you've got to do is book your place on their website, skygarden.london, 24 hours notice, completely free of charge. You pretty much get the same views as you would from the Shard. So save your £45, go to the Sky Garden up to the left. We have the warship there on the right hand side, that is the HMS Belfast. The Belfast was built in the same dockyard as the ill-fated Titanic. She was launched on St Patrick's Day back in 1938 and last fired these guns in anger during the Korean campaign. All of those guns that you see on the warship would fire a 100 weight shell 14 land miles. She was a very powerful warship. Today she's an extension to the Imperial War Museum. You could go on here if you want. There are 9 decks to get through, all the way from the engine room to the wheelhouse. There's quite a bit of history on that warship. We have our pier here to the left. This is our first stop. This is Tower Pier. Now we're meant to take you straight into the pier and end the tour, but we're feeling very generous today. So what we're going to do for you, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take you further down the river to Tower Bridge.